What do you do when the government bans you from doing the only thing you know how to do? In 2010, Iranian filmmaker Jafar Panahi was sentenced to 6 years in prison and handed a 20-year ban on making films, writing scripts, giving interviews, or leaving the country. For a director whose lifeblood was cinema, this was a creative death sentence. The Iranian regime intended to erase him. Instead, they accidentally turned him into one of the most innovative and defiant artists of the 21st century. This is the story of how Jafar Panahi weaponized cinema. Long before his arrest, Panahi's films were a thorn in the side of the Islamic Republic. As a protege of the legendary Abbas Kiarostami, Panahi's early work focused on the struggles of ordinary people, particularly women and children, navigating the labyrinth of Iranian bureaucracy and social constraints. His 1995 debut, The White Balloon, told a seemingly simple story of a girl trying to buy a goldfish for the new year, but beneath the surface lay a sharp critique of societal indifference. His 2000 masterpiece, The Circle, went further, directly tackling the systemic oppression of Iranian women. The film was banned in Iran, but won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival. By 2006, Offside, which focused on women trying to sneak into a football match they were banned from attending, Panahi was firmly in the crosshairs of the regime. The government saw his near-realist style, blurring the lines between documentary and fiction, not as art, but as political dissidence. When he was arrested in 2010 during the Green Movement protests, the global film community was outraged. Cannes, Berlin, and Venice left empty chairs for him on their juries. But Panahi didn't need their empty chairs. He was already plotting his next film. While under house arrest, awaiting the outcome of his appeal, Panahi did the unthinkable. He invited his friend and fellow filmmaker Mujtaba Mertemaz to his apartment. Using a consumer digital camera and an iPhone, they shot This Is Not a Film in 2011. The genius of the project was right there in the title. If he was banned from writing scripts, he would simply act out a film he would have made. If he was banned from directing, he would just let the camera roll. The film is a claustrophobic, brilliant meditation on the nature of cinema itself. Panahi tapes off a square on his living room floor to represent a set, demonstrating how limitation forces creativity. But shooting the movie was only half the battle. He was banned from distributing anything. So, the film was smuggled out of Iran on a USB flash drive hidden inside a cake, flown to Paris, and screened at the Cannes Film Festival. The regime had tried to silence him, and instead, he had just made international headlines. Emboldened by this success, Panahi's methods became even more audacious. In 2015, he released Taxi, also known as a Jafar Panahi's Taxi. He rigged a dashboard camera in a yellow cab and drove around the bustling streets of Tehran, picking up passengers, most of whom were non-professional actors playing heightened versions of themselves. The dashboard camera was legally a security device, allowing him to bypass the ban on film equipment. Through the conversations in the cab, Panahi captured a mosaic of Iranian society, discussing politics, cinema, and survival, all while technically breaking no laws. The restrictive space of the car became a microcosm of Iran itself. Taxis went on to win the Golden Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. The cinematic world marveled at how a man forbidden to make art was producing better films than directors with million-dollar budgets and total freedom. Panahi's later works, like Three Faces and No Bears, continued to push these boundaries, exploring the rural Iranian countryside and the invisible borders that constrain its people. In No Bears, Panahi plays a fictionalized version of himself, directing a film in Turkey remotely via a shaky internet connection from a border village in Iran. The film is a tense, self-reflective examination of the power and danger of recording images. Panahi forces us to ask, what is the moral responsibility of the filmmaker when their work can put real people in peril? In July 2022, Panahi was arrested again after going to the prosecutor's office to inquire about the arrest of another filmmaker. He was sent to the notorious Evin prison to serve out his original 6-year sentence. But true to form, he didn't stay quiet. In February 2023, he went on a hunger strike, demanding his release. 2 days later, facing mounting international pressure and concerns for his health, the Iranian authorities released him on bail. Jafar Panahi's ongoing 20-year ban stands as a testament to the paranoia of authoritarianism. A government with tanks, missiles, and absolute power is terrified of a middle-aged man with an iPhone. Why? Because dictatorships rely on a monolithic narrative, and cinema, true, searching, empathetic cinema, fractures that narrative. Panahi's secret films are not just acts of political rebellion, they are profound artistic statements about the necessity of expression. He proved that cinema isn't just a physical medium of celluloid, lights, and permits. It's a way of looking at the world that cannot be legislated out of existence. As Panahi himself said, "Nothing can prevent me from making films. Since when I am pushed to the ultimate corners, I connect with my inner self, and in such private spaces, despite all limitations, the necessity to create becomes even more of an urge." But the story of Jafar Panahi doesn't end with his temporary release in 2023. The world watched closely as he returned home, a man fundamentally changed by prison, yet unbroken in spirit. The regime's attempt to silence him had backfired spectacularly, magnifying his voice across the globe. In the years following his hunger strike, Panahi's influence has only grown deeper. He became a living symbol for a new generation of Iranian filmmakers who now use smartphones, underground networks, and encrypted channels to document the reality of life in the Islamic Republic. His pioneering guerrilla filmmaking techniques became the blueprint for dissent. Directors who once tried to navigate the complex web of official permits realized that true art often requires bypassing the system entirely. Panahi's legacy poses a terrifying question to authoritarian regimes everywhere. If you ban a filmmaker from a set, he will film in his living room. If you ban him from his living room, he will film in a taxi. If you throw him in prison, his absence itself becomes a powerful cinematic statement. His empty chair at the world's most prestigious film festivals spoke louder than any state-sponsored propaganda ever could. The irony is profound. The 20-year ban, designed to erase Panahi from the annals of cinematic history, instead secured his immortality. While government officials who signed his arrest warrants will fade into obscurity, the films Panahi made in secret, smuggled on USB drives inside cakes, and uploaded via patchy internet connections from remote border towns, will be studied by film historians for centuries. These films are raw, unpolished, and urgent. They lack the high-budget gloss of Hollywood or even the refined production values of his early masterpieces. Yet, they possess a truth that money cannot buy. They capture the claustrophobia of surveillance, the quiet acts of rebellion by ordinary citizens, and the unyielding human desire to connect through storytelling. Today, Jafar Panahi remains in a precarious state of existence, free from a prison cell, yet still a prisoner within his own country. His passport remains confiscated, his official ban technically still in place. But he has proven that true freedom is not a legal status, it is a state of mind. He continues to watch, to plan, and undoubtedly, to create. For the rest of us, watching a Panahi film is no longer just a passive experience, it is an act of solidarity. Every time one of his illicitly made frames flickers onto a screen, whether in Paris, New York, or a secret basement screening in Tehran, the regime loses a little more power. Jafar Panahi weaponized cinema against tyranny not with guns or bombs, but with the simple, unbreakable act of observing reality. He turned the camera on his oppressors by simply refusing to put it down. And in doing so, he reminded the world that while governments can lock up the artist, they can never, ever imprison the art. This has been a deep dive into the resilient world of Jafar Panahi. Thank you for watching. If you want to support independent, uncompromising analysis on world cinema and geopolitical realities, make sure to subscribe to Charlie Hillsyde. Keep your eyes open, and remember, truthful, not neutral. See you in the next one.